Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar, introducing the updated student experience on the KWL Hub. Now, I'm excited to introduce today's presenter. Maria Corcoles is an educational technology consultant here at KWL Languages. She holds a master's degree in secondary education and in teaching Spanish as a second language from the University of Valencia and Nebrija University. Maria brings 6 years of experience teaching English and Spanish at the middle and high school levels. She's passionate about creating innovative solutions that support teachers in today's classroom. Today, she'll walk you through the redesigned KWL Hub Student Interface and show you how it helps students navigate, stay organized, and focus on learning. Maria, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Sarah, for the introduction. Thank you so much. So hello and welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this short webinar on the new student interface. As Sarah said, my name is Maria, and I work as an educational technology specialist in the EdTech department. So today I'll walk you through the key features and updates and how they impact your students' experience as well as your experience as instructors. So it doesn't matter if you are a first-time user or if you have used the previous version of the platform. Our goal here today is to give you a very clear understanding of the changes and how you can help your students. So today we'll cover the new features of the KWL Hub, like what's changed. Then we'll continue with the next section, which includes how to navigate the KWL Hub for the first time, and also how to navigate the content in the course player. Then we'll see how we can start, take, resume assignments, and then, of course, how to check grades. Now, we'll wrap up with a short Q&A session, so please feel free to drop your questions in the chat as we go, and we'll collect them and make sure to address them at the end of the session today. So let's begin with a quick overview. I will then go to the KWL Hub, but I just want to make sure that we have a quick overview first. So for those who have experience with the previous platform, you'll notice that the new interface offers a simplified, modern look that translates into improved usability of the new platform. So these updates are based on feedback from both students and teachers, with the goal of making navigation more intuitive and content easier to access. Some key highlights include a clearer library and assignment views, and enhanced reading tools in the ebook section, the course player. We'll see how it is easier to access grades, the notifications with key information such as book access codes, for example, or expiration dates. We'll see that again in a few moments in the KWL Hub. And also an improved management of devices and access codes. All these changes are designed to support you as a teacher, but also to support your students, providing autonomy and reduce the technical barriers they may struggle with. So what's new in the KWL Hub? Let's start with the first thing that your students will see when they log into the KWL Hub for the first time. So every time they log in, they'll see the library, which is the main dashboard. And it is key for them because that's how they can access their content, which is key. Now, with the new interface, I don't know if you have noticed, but now we have these cards for every book so they can find information in a very smooth and easier way. So students can now view the library in a very clear layout. They can open content or resume work, and they can also view the details I was talking to you about, such as ISBN, expiration date, the type of content they have access to. Is that a course? Is that a textbook? Everything is available and easier to access. As you can see, and we'll see later, it's very intuitive. Now, with so many things happening in the classroom, notifications are key to keep your students tuned and ready. Now, you can see here that on the tab in the right corner, and we'll see that again in the KWL Hub in a minute, you see the bell icon, which is the notifications icon. Now, this is how your students will have real-time updates on, for example, being rastered in a class, assignments being assigned to them, etc. So you will see that later with me, but a blue dot on the right side of the notification means that the notification has not been read. So once the students click on the notification, it's not just about scanning the notification or clicking on the bell icon, they have to click on the notification, so they'll go to the red section. So that way their interface is clean and everything is clear, and they can, keep everything organized. Now, what kind of notifications will your students receive? They will receive notifications in relation to content, and the most important notifications, that's my opinion, is those notifications related to assignments. So they'll receive notifications every time an assignment is assigned to them, they're missing an assignment, or an assignment has been graded. Also, announcements. As a teacher, and hopefully you know that information, you can share or you can send messages to your students. They will also be displayed in this area, and we'll see that later. And something I was forgetting, every notification is clickable. That means that you can click on the notification and it will bring you exactly where you need to go instantly. So if it's an assignment, it will bring you to the assignment. Something I really like about the new UI UX or the new platform is how to manage your personal account details as well as book access codes or class codes. We'll see that later. But I think it's very intuitive and very clean. So if your students ever need to check their account information, update their names or last names, as well as changing their password, they only need to go to their profile page, and we'll see that in a minute. So it's very simple. They would go to the top right corner, and I'll show you that in a minute. You go to the profile icon, then there is a drop-down menu. They will need to select and click on my profile, and they will go to this page where they can manage that information. I would like to highlight that the students can't change the username. They can change the name, the last name, and they can also update the password. However, if when they created the account, there is a typo in the email address that they used to create the account, you have to do that on behalf of the student with your teacher account. That's the only information on this profile page that they can't change, which is important for you to know. And something that is pretty important is the content. It doesn't matter if it's an ebook or an interactive activity. That's going to be key for your students and for you as teachers. Now, when the students open the course viewer, they are welcomed by a redesigned and more intuitive environment. So at the heart of this experience is a cleaner and more organized table of contents that you can see on the left side. And again, I will go through this with you, in the KWL Hub. So this new layout allows you to immediately locate where you need to navigate, whether it's an activity or whether it's something in the ebook. The students will also benefit from a simplified access to essential tools such as highlighting key information, also their own notes, bookmarks, etc. We'll see that in a minute. So navigating through the digital textbook or any interactive content is now smoother and more user-friendly. And we'll see how your students will be able to jump to different sections, units, materials such as videos, etc. And finally, as a web-based platform, our system is designed to be flexible and accessible from a wide range of devices, whether you're using a desktop, laptop, tablet, or mobile phone. So to get the best experience, we recommend always using a device that still receives updates from its manufacturer, which I think is the case for almost everybody. So that ensures both compatibility and security. So the best practice would be to keep both your browser and your operating system up to date. That's going to be key. And we also get a lot of questions in relation to the differences between platforms. The good thing is that the platform is fully responsive, so the user interface and available features, all of them remain consistent whether you're using a computer, a tablet, or a phone. Now, we are going to navigate the KWL Hub. So let's go to the KWL Hub. In a minute, I'll switch to the real platform. So those that already know the KWL Hub, hopefully you can feel the difference with this screenshot in the presentation. You might have noticed that the library is now presented with clean visual content cards for every book. Now, this layout makes it easier for students to locate materials, but now it's easier to locate key information such as, for example, let me go here. Key information such as the expiration date of the materials, for example, or the ISBN, or the type of file we're dealing with. So what kind of content will the students find here? And please, this is extremely important. I'm going to try to summarize this in a very clear way, and we'll go through it in a minute. But there are three main scenarios. So when your students access the KWL Hub, there are three main scenarios. So the first one would be you being a K-12 student and your district or your school is using a rastering or integration scenario. So this means that your district or school is using a system such as Clever, ClassLink, Canvas, Schoology, whatever it may be. And this system links the KWL Hub with your school system. And that creates the classes for you as a teacher and rasters your students in your classes. Additionally, your students are not purchasing the materials since your school or district is purchasing the materials on their behalf. In this case, in the case your students are rastered automatically and they are not purchasing the materials, you as a teacher would have to assign the books, the content to your students from your teacher account. So that book that you're assigning to the students would be what they will see in their library when they log in, okay? Now, the second scenario is the opposite. In this case, students purchase access to the materials themselves, and there is no system such as Clever, ClassLink, Canvas, or any other system rastering your students. That means that they first need to create their own accounts. They will need to add a class code into their account, and in order to have access to the book, they would have to add the book access code in their account. So it's the opposite, completely the opposite. And finally, we have this third scenario, which is kind of like a hybrid between these two. We have higher education students and also hybrid integrations. So with these two examples, both of them, students would have to enter a book access code manually. Because even if they are rastered with a system such as, for example, Canvas, they would have to add the book access code. Otherwise, they wouldn't have access to the content because that's how they gain access to the book. So if the students purchase a book access code, after logging in the KWL Hub, they will need to add a book access code to see the content. And I'll guide you through that in a minute. So that is the main difference. If a student is rastered and they're not buying the book access code, you assign the content, and that is what they will see in the library. Now, let's go to the KWL Hub for just a second. So when you access the KWL Hub for the first time as a student and also as a teacher, you will have to click on the I agree to our privacy policy. Otherwise, you won't be able to access. The system will kick you out. So that happens a lot. We get a lot of teachers saying, hey, my student can't access, something happens. It's most of the times is related to this. So when your students access for the first time, it doesn't matter if they're rastered or not, they need to click on I agree to CLED World Languages Privacy Policy. Now as a student, I'm in the KWL Hub. I don't know if you can tell the difference, but when I was presenting the PowerPoint here, you couldn't see, like now I can't see anything. I cannot see the notifications, I can see assignments, I can see anything. I can only see the books I have access to right here. And this means that your students have access to the content because they added a book access code or they created an account with a book code. However, they don't have access to your assignments. So what they would have to do, if that is the case, the first time they get in the KWL Hub, is that they would have to click here in the profile icon and then go to book access code. And this is very intuitive because before it had a different name. So now it's very easy. You just click on the profile icon and you click on book access code. Now, I said that the students have access to the book, but they need to have access to your class. So I would click here on class code, and I would enter the code of the class I need access to. So you would have to share that code with your students. I click on add, and now I am associated with Spanish 101 Proyectos 1. So I'm going to click here, and I will go to the main dashboard. And normally this means that I have to log out and log in again. Let me just go ahead and do that. So now I'm here in this other account, and give me just a quick second. Here I have already added in book access code. I have been added to my class, and I have access to all my books. So as you can see, when you log in again to that account, you can see that this tab bar here, library, assignments, and gradebook, and also the notifications icon is available. So in order to make sure your students have access to your assignments and the books, you will need to make sure the books are displayed in the library and that you can see this bar on top. Otherwise, your students don't have access to either one of those. And remember, your students will always need to have access to both your class and the book, always. So that is something I wanted to show you. And give me a quick second because I would also like to show you this here. Now, here we have access to the bar, like we have the library, the assignments, the gradebook here, the notifications bell icon, but for some reason we don't have access to any content. That means that they created an account with a class code, but they don't have access to the content. And that happens a lot, especially in higher education students. So you would have to click on profile, the profile icon here, and then book access code. And once here, as you can see, there are no active book access codes. We would only have to paste here the book access code. Now, make sure that if you are entering, or when your students are entering a book access code, you have selected book access code and not class code. So we are going to add the book access code, and we are ready to go. And in this case, we don't have to log off and log in again. It's already available. So that is what you need to know as a teacher when you see that a student doesn't have access to a class or they don't have access to the book. These are the situations you can deal with at the beginning of the school season. So now we are here, and we are in the library, which is the main dashboard that your students are going to see. So as you can see, and I was telling you before, now you can open the book just by clicking on open book. But now students can also click on view details, which is a new feature that was not available before. And it is great because they can access important and relevant information, such as, for example, expiration of the code. That's something they couldn't see before. And I think it comes very handy, and I think it's very helpful. So let's go now back to the presentation. And now what we're going to see is we are going to navigate the content. And if you have any questions in relation to the codes or class codes, please, we can go through that later at the end of the session, because I understand it can be a little bit confusing at first. But now that we have access to our content and our assignments, we're going to start navigating the content. Now, as you can see with a few clicks here, and I will also show you in the KWL Hub, students can explore the table of contents, which is this area on the left, access multimedia resources, and use tools like bookmarks, notes, highlights. Also, the bottom menu gives them, your students, the ability to zoom in, change views, or enter full screen mode to be very focused on the reading experience and learning experience. Now, these tools promote active reading, and you can suggest your students are using all the tools available, such as bookmarks, making notes, etc. Now, what we can see here on the top is that is all the tools the students have available to navigate the course player. And in this case, this is for the ebook. Now, you'll see that your students have access to the ebook content and also the interactive content. So I think this is very helpful because you can navigate to any content. So this contents bar here instantly opens the table of contents and you can jump to any chapter or section. Then we have the resources the resources section right here, which gets you access to any materials that are included in the content, such as, for example, audios, videos, PDF files, external links. Then you have your bookmarks area, which is the bookmarks that you have created for yourself. This is something, nothing is included here. Your students are responsible of bookmarking any pages they find interesting or anything that they would like to revisit, such as key content, grammar content, etc. Then they have the notes section. So you can view, your students can view all the notes in one place only, and they can navigate directly to where the thoughts began. So if they have a note on page number 18, they click on the note they wrote, and the system will take them directly to that page. Now, you can also have your own highlights. So when you highlight any kind of content, it will appear in this section. Obviously, they can search for anything they need to in a very fast way. So when you type, you enter a word or a phrase, the system will scan the ebook and locate it for them. And if you click on the three dot icon, you will get help and assistance. So hopefully with these features, the ebook isn't just something that the students read, but something they interact with and that they can make their own material because they're making notes and highlighting things. So hopefully that's how you feel about it. Now, instead of going through this in the presentation, I am going to go ahead and jump to the KWL Hub so we can see how it works. Now, as you can see here, as I was saying, you go to the library section. You can access the library clicking here or also here. And let's go with Reporteros Uno. You can also look for the book using this searching tool. And you can look for the ISBN number, the name even of the authors, or the name of the title. So I'm going to open Reporteros Uno. And I'm going to start navigating the ebook, the course player. So let's go, that's an interactive activity. So I'm gonna go to the ebook, the student edition. So I'm going to review this, which is what I just went through. So again, contents, I can just go to the cover if I want to. I can jump to, let's say, unit number 1. And if I open here, I populate this here from unidad preliminar, I can jump to any kind of section. ¿Qué día es hoy, for example? Now, I can also check all the resources that are included in the content, web links, also audios, or documents such as PDF files. Here, I will see my bookmarks. I don't have any bookmark, but if, for example, I can never remember los meses in Spanish, I can just go ahead and bookmark this page. And even if I'm let's go to page number 19, I click on bookmark and it will take me to page 14. So I can easily see the months in Spanish. Now, notes. I have this note here and it's I love Frida Kahlo, of course. So if I click on this note, I will go to the page where I took the note from. And I can also see the highlights. And in this case, it's this one here, La Casa Azul. And I can also look for anything I need to. So I'm obsessed with Frida Kahlo. Let's see. And I can go to any content available. This will search the book for me. Now here, that's the tab bar on the right. Now, if we go here down in this bar right here, now I can add a note. Remember, I loved Frida Kahlo, so I'm just going to say, for example, hello, Dana. I know it's not very relevant, but I'm just going to go ahead and add a note right here. I'll click here and say, I love, me encanta Reporteros. And I will save this note here. And it will be available here. And when I click on it, I can change it, I can update it, I can remove it, and it will be right here. It will appear in notes. I can also, if I click on this icon here, I can highlight anything I want to. Sorry, I'm going to change the color so you can all see it. And I'm going to delete this. So I can also highlight if I want to, I can change the color as you saw, green here, for example. And when I close it, it disappears. When I click on it, it's available again, okay? I can also easily preview all the pages of the book, which is very, very useful. Instead of just like, if this was not available, I would have to just randomly write a page here. But if I don't want to be lost and I want to keep track of what's coming next, I can click on here and preview what is coming next. And I can even scroll here and preview all the pages. You can also view the ebook with 2 pages, which I like, but you can also decide to just view 1 page at a time. That's also very, you can also zoom in case you need to focus or your students need to really pay attention to something in particular, such as this conversation, for example, and that also is very handy. You have, bear in mind that if you are zooming in or zooming out, you won't be able to click on the audios, for example. So you would have to click on the arrow here in order to be able to click.
Juan Toscano debuta este año.
And this is the audio player. So if you want your students also to be very high focused, you can also click on this icon here and they will see the content displayed with no distractions at all. Now, this is the navigation bar on the left, which is I think is very helpful because if, for example, you want to look for a specific interactive content, you can also say unidad dos. Let's go to unidad dos, la gramática, my grammar. And it will jump to that section, which is very helpful for students. So that was everything we saw right now was the ebook section, the course, to navigate the content in the course viewer. You have the student edition, you have the workbook, but then of course we have the interactive content. And this is the interactive content right here. So you have the interactive student edition. And as I said, you can navigate and go to wherever you need to go very quickly, which is something that I really like. Let's go to unidad tres, mi gramática. And it jumps to that interactive material, so they are ready to practice anything they need to practice in a very quick and intuitive way. Now that we know how to navigate the content, it doesn't matter if it's an ebook or if it is interactive materials, we are ready to navigate the assignments. Now here, the assignments section, you access the assignment section by clicking, I'll just go ahead and get ready here. By clicking on assignments. That's how you will access the assignment section. So to access the assignment section, you click on the assignment bar and you will see that the assignments are displayed in 4 different sections. This is so the students have everything organized and they're not distracted by the platform and they're ready to focus on the assignments and on learning. So you see that the first section is the upcoming assignment section. Now here you will see your students will see the assignments that are still pending. So that means that there is a due date in the future. And even if the due date is passed, they can still take the assignment because you as teachers, you can make assignments available after the due date. So even if an assignment is passed, but you made it available for your students, it will show up in the upcoming assignment section. Now, if there is a missing assignment or there are assignments in the missing section, that means that the due date is passed, but it can't be submitted. So if for some reason you didn't make an assignment available after the due date, the students will see those assignments in the missing section. Sometimes as a lot of the students reach out to us and they think there is a glitch with the platform because they can't open the assignments in the missing section, but that's just the way you designed as teachers those assignments. Bear in mind that you can, of course, reset an assignment for students even if it's passed. So that option is always available for you. Now, in the submitted section, which is the third one, your students will see all those assignments that include activities that are teacher graded. Now, most of the activities are auto-graded, so that means you don't have to assess or grade any of the activities, But for some reason, if you assign an assignment that includes a recording, an audio recording, or a little essay, and you need to grade that activity within the assignment, the whole assignment will appear in the submitted section. And it will only go to the graded section once you have graded that activity that needs to be graded by a teacher. Now, the graded section is the section where the students will see all the assignments that have been already graded. So most of the assignments, and most of them always include auto-graded assignments and activities, they will automatically be in the graded section. So as you can see, every assignment is displayed like with this card format. So it's very visually clean, and it has all the key information displayed in a very intuitive way. So let me just go here and show you how the card looks like. Now, when you see the assignments, and that's how it's going to be displayed for the students, you can see that they have the due date on top. That's the first thing they have on top, even above the title itself. So they have the due date and the time. The time is always going to be the time zone where you are. So I'm in Central Time. It will be displayed in Central Time for me. If you are in Eastern Time, it will be Eastern Time for you. Now, the title of the assignment, then they have the number of questions included in the assignment, the time, which is 0, of course, that will be the time limit, which they don't have in this assignment. The penalty applied, which does not apply in this case. You as teachers, you have a new feature that allows you to apply penalties after a due date. So in this case, even if they submit the assignment after the due date, there is no problem. And if there is a limit, a time limit, it will also be displayed, but again, it's not displayed here. You can also see, the students can see when you assign the assignment. Now, this is relevant because you can organize the assignments by due date, also by assigned date, and also by title. So if you as a student want to know what your teacher assigned yesterday, you can also organize and sort the assignments by assigned date. Let me go here and let's go and see how this works. Now, as you can see, I have like 58 upcoming assignments. I have like 4 missing assignments, 1 submitted and 10 graded. Now let's go ahead and see how the assignment workspace looks like. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sort by assigned date, and I'm going to start taking this assignment. I would like you to pay attention because I created this assignment on purpose today. As you can see, the due date here is due today, and it's in red. Now, this means that the due date is now in just like 10 minutes. So I really need to submit this assignment here, the one that's called Bienvenidos al Webinar. Now, as you can see, this other assignment, it says late here. This means that the due date is passed already, but I can still take it. Otherwise, remember, it will be in the missing section. I cannot take this assignment. As you can see, it doesn't let me take the assignment. However, I can take this assignment even though it's already passed, okay? But I'm just going to go ahead and take this one here because it's in red. The due date is today, so let's just go ahead and take this one here. Now, the great thing about the platform here is that it gives you all the information you need as a student to get mentally ready to take the assignment. So I know when it was assigned, it was today. I know the due date, which is today in just a few minutes. I know the total number of activities, which is 3 activities, so I can get mentally ready, and I know that maybe how long that's going to take for me, and I have a time limit of 10 minutes. So I have all the information I need in order to get ready and start the assignment. So I'm going to go ahead and start the assignment. I understand I have 10 minutes, okay? And give me just a quick second. And here, that's how it looks like, the assignment workspace. Now, this is great. Before we didn't have this. Now, if you click on this arrow here, you can make it available. This is kind of a way for students to keep track of, the assignment itself. You have the ones that have been answered, the one that is still pending, and if you flag, because now students can flag an assignment if they need to. so they can go back to that assignment, to that activity. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start answering randomly. So this is very important, and you need to transmit this information to the students as well. When I answer an activity, you need to make sure that the students don't click on the arrow. They need to make sure that they save the attempt and validate. Now, if you give your students more than one assignment, they will see the attempts remaining on the top right corner. That is very important. So they shouldn't go to the very end and submit the assignment. A lot of the students submit an assignment and then they want another attempt. But no, that's not the way the platform works. You have to always validate your attempt. So here, let's go try again. I'm going to change it and I'm going to save attempt and validate. And then you can go to the right. I'm just going to, okay, that's it. So that's the very last activity. And it says here on the top, the students can keep track of everything they're doing. Like, I don't remember, was I in the second activity? How many more do I have left? It's right here, 3 of 3. It's the last activity of the assignment. So now that I know I'm at the end and I have all the information here, they should never click on submit. If I'm in the last activity, they always need to make sure they click on save attempt and validate. And if they only have one attempt, the system will say save. If they don't click on save first and they click on submit, the system will not save the results. It will not save your answers. So this is extremely important. Always make sure they click on validate and then they can click on next, the arrow, or they need to click on submit, okay? And this is I'm pretty sure it's going to be a bad result, but let's see. It's 2 out of 23. And the message is, I hope you're enjoying the webinar. So that's a customized message that I created as a teacher. Now I'm in the assignment section and you will be able to see this assignment here in the graded section. Because as I told you before, only the assignments that include teacher grade activities go to the submitted section. So I have a submitted activity here, an assignment. You can click on view the assignment and you will see that this is auto-graded, but a teacher needs to provide and give feedback to this because it includes recordings. So that's why it's still showing in the submitted section. As soon as my teacher, which is me, gives feedback and verifies this assignment, it will go to graded. The great thing about this is that the students can click on view and they can see the responses and all the feedback, okay? If you don't want this, there is an option so you can hide the responses as well. And now let's go to the last section here, which is going to be the grade assignments. I already showed you that you can, see them, but let's go and jump to the gradebook section. We don't have that much time left with the Q&A session here, so let's jump here. Now, the graded assignments list appear in the gradebook. And I think it's a great gradebook because it's not just a number, but it gives you a lot of information. So now the first thing maybe that you noticed is the color coded. So you see that you have the title of the assignment, which by the way, you can click on it and view again your assignment. So it's not just a number, you can actually access the assignment and see that feedback. And then you have the score. And again, you can see the colors here. There is the green color. So that means it's a strong score, something, to feel proud of. And then you have this light brown here. Hopefully you can see the difference between the red and the brown here. This means that, it's around 40–50%. So perhaps more attention needs to be, they need to focus a little bit more. And then you have the red color right here, which means that the assignment scored 0. So not 0, but it's until a 40%. So they need to focus, they need to pay attention. Perhaps, they need to talk to you and see what that happened. So they also have here the total number of activities, which I think is quite important because the students understand the scope of what they completed. it's not just a number, but you see the whole like scope of the activities they were taking. So it's not the same having a 100% if you have 10 activities or one activity. It makes a big difference because it's about the process and having a holistic perspective on the scores. And they also have the correct answers right here. So it's not simply about giving a number, a score, it's giving students the tools they need, as many as possible, so they can keep up and they can keep track of the progress and understanding the grade and where it comes from, not just giving a random number. And hopefully that gives you a clear perspective on how the new UI UX, the new platform is working. So I think you're all set. Again, I think that's a good understanding on how the content viewer works, the assignments, the gradebook, and of course, creating an account, adding a class code, adding a book access code. So of course, if you need anything, you will have the presentation here. You have our technical support contact. You will have to fill out a form, and we are pretty fast getting back to our customers. I will personally take care of some of you. And also you have the Elevio article supports. This links brings you here, which is our Elevio support page. So if you're a K-12 teacher, you have all these resources. If you're a professor in higher education, you have these resources. And if you are a student, you have all these resources as well. Let me see. And I think that's no. And I think we're all set. I forgot something. I forgot to tell you how to change to the old version, which will be available until the end of the next school year. So if for whatever reason you or your students need to access the older UI UX, you go to the profile section and you would go change to the old version. I'm going to show you, but that's why you have this message here, which is not an error message. You just close it and it will be displayed again for a few months. But if you ever need to go to the old version, you just click here and you will go back to that version. I think I forgot to mention the notifications here. As you can see, I had an announcement. I hope you are enjoying the webinar right here. Again, as I was saying before, if you click on the bell icon, they don't disappear, even if I have read them. I have to click on them in order for them to disappear. So I would have to click here and it disappears from the notification section. And if I click, for example, let's go here, it will go directly to that assignment that was assigned to me, which is another assignment. And if I go here, those assignments were already taken. But the good thing about the notifications is that you click on it and you go directly where you need to go. And I think we're all set. I don't know if you have any questions for me, Sarah, because Sarah is taking care of the questions.
Yes. Well, first, I want to say thank you so much, Maria, for that detailed walkthrough of the new student interface. And we hope it gave everyone a clear picture of the improvements and how they can support their students more effectively. So yes, we will now open it up for Q&A. Thank you for those of you who have submitted questions so far. If you haven't done so yet, please feel free to type your questions into the Q&A box. I do have a few for you, Maria. One of our attendees is asking if the teachers can see students' bookmarks.
No, the teachers cannot, because as a teacher in your platform, when you access the course viewer, you are, let's say you are navigating your own contents. So you as a teacher, you will have your own bookmarks and you will have your own notes. The only way, if you wanted to see what the students are bookmarking or the notes they are writing, would be to impersonate your students. So you would go to my roster, to students, so roster, my students, and then there is an icon at the very right of the screen, which allows you to impersonate the student. And once you impersonate the student, you would see exactly the same the students can see, exactly the same. So you could navigate the book and you could see their bookmarks, their comments, their highlights, but you can only see in your content viewer your own notes, your own bookmarks.
Thank you. Another attendee is asking, do you have a chatbot option when we have questions and cannot solve them during the year?
So the
No worries.
chatbot, and that is a big, well, not a big change, but here we go to the interface here, and the chatbot before was on the left. So in this bubble right here, you have the chatbot available for you. Now the chatbot is being updated because the new UI UX is very new. So it should be updated in the next days. That means that you will see the older UI UX, but in the next few days, it will be already updated. The developers are working on it. So yes, it is available. And if you ask questions, let's say, for example, book access code, and I apologize because we can still see the older UI UX. But again, there are so many things they need to update that it's taking a little bit longer than usual. So as you can see, it gives you images on how you can add a book access code. But this again needs to be, they're working on it, okay? And you would have the steps that you need to follow and everything else. So I recommend always using the chatbot first. And if you get stuck, you can always contact us. The chatbot gives links to Illivio articles to students and teachers. And also, if your students are creating their own accounts, there's also a specific chatbot on how to help students or teachers creating accounts. So I always recommend using the chatbot. Thank you for that question.
Yes, definitely. We do have one open question. Oh, actually, it was just answered. Wonderful. Maria, would you like to share what you think the biggest benefit teachers have noticed so far with the new layout?
So to me, honestly speaking, the biggest thing I think it's adding book access codes and class codes. I think that's very helpful because it's very intuitive, because it wasn't now as clear, the language was not as clear, and the notifications, I really like the fact of clicking on a notification and you go directly to that assignment. So there is no excuse for your students to say that they didn't know they didn't have an assignment. Because if you click on the notification, first of all, it doesn't disappear unless you click on it. And if you click on it, you're going to go to the assignment itself. Otherwise, you will have the red number there forever. And I really like the way, I like this a lot. I think a lot of the teachers are seeing that it's easier for the students to see that, hey, my expiration date is, for example, here. It's in September. Because I especially deal with a lot of higher education professors and students, and they purchase shorter codes, like for 6 months. So it's very helpful for them just to click here, view details, and have all the information available. And of course, I feel that, I'll just go ahead and show you here. I think this, the bar here on the left, being able to go to the unit you want to, Unita, sorry, it's here. I think this is very, very, very useful. Those are the biggest things we are getting about the platform.
Thank you so much. We have one more open question, and then we will conclude our Q&A live session for today. Our question is, could you clarify what you meant by students changing their profile name and password? So we have a middle school teacher whose students are enrolled through their district and Google Classroom roster. Are they still able to change their name and password? This instructor doesn't necessarily want them to be able to do that.
Okay, that's a perfect question. I have to say the profile thing for like a broad amount of like users, but as I said, it depends on the kind of user you are. If you are a rostered student, through this case, it was Google Classroom, I understood that. You can't change your name, your last name. You can't, because that information comes from the rastering or the integration tool. So you can't change that, and they should never change that. The same way you as a teacher, you can't create new classes or move students because that information comes from the school system. So you cannot change that. This is only for those students that create accounts themselves. They have to create an account, they have to create a username, a name, a last name, and I can show you here very quickly. It's for the students that have to go through this process. They need to register here. So if your school district has a rastering or an integration tool, they don't do this. It's not a process for those students. So you are good. They will not change that information. They can't change that information.
Thank you, Maria. And thank you, all of you, for being with us today. This session, Maria, was so practical and informative, and we really appreciate your time and all of our attendees' time as well. We do have just a few reminders before we close for today. Remember, you will receive a copy of the presentation and a recording of today's webinar in your inbox within the next week. And don't forget, you can still join us for one of our free KWL Hub training sessions that are running through the end of August. Our next live training is on August 13th, and we would love to see you there. You can visit our website. We will share the link in the chat to register and explore the full schedule of options. Thanks again, and please enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, everybody, for joining today.